It's recap time. Welcome to the Rush Recap. Today I'll be explaining a movie called Tormented, released in 2009. The film starts with a horrified student being taken out of the school premises while everyone looks in shock. The scene shifts back to 5 days earlier, when the same girl, Justine, is delivering a speech in memory of a student named Darren. The speech is interrupted in a loud fashion by another student, Jason. It is then that we get to know about the real circumstances. Jason shouts out that Darren was bullied by the same kids who are pretending to care about them today. As a result, he is thrown out of the premises. The scene shifts to the funeral ground, where Jason watches the rest of the people paying their tributes. The kids present at the site are relatively uninterested in the funeral and more concerned with a party set to take place later at night. The scene also gives us an idea of the distinct groups present at the school. One where people care about Darren and what happened to him, and the latter, where they couldn't care any less, thereby making them the bullies of the school. During the night at the party, Justine arrives a little late. The DJ makes fun of her, and this immediately upsets the bully group that invited her. Later on, Alex, another student, consoles Justine and suggests that they should ditch the party. At the house party, Alex and Justine find some time alone, while the rest of the bully gang starts to receive messages from Darren Mullet. At first, they think of it as some sort of elaborate prank played by Jason. Later on, Alex and Justine are interrupted by a clown in their room. All of a sudden, a clown with a chainsaw in his hand blasts into their room and scares them. This leads them to a state of shock, but it is revealed that the clown is none other than Bradley, the bully. A strange someone watches them from the outside, but it remains unclear about their identity. Meanwhile, the rude DJ Jez starts to relieve himself at Darren Mullet's grave. This leads to an unknown person coming up to him from behind and using a graveyard crucifix to eliminate him. This marks the beginning of the haunted eliminations. Back at the school, Justine arrives with her friends. While disappointed, Jason makes his way alone. Justine easily fits into the popular group, while Jason is bullied right from the start. At the principal's office, Jason is asked to offer an apology to Justine. To avoid furthering the matter, Jason apologizes for the outburst. Justine runs into Jason and tries to sort things out. The geeky lad informs her that Darren liked her, but did not say anything because she would have laughed at him. Justine refutes the claim and informs us that she is not like that. Eventually, Jason hands her a letter written by Darren. The letter describes how Darren came to his final decision and why he thought Justine hated her. Later on, Justine finds a teddy bear in her locker. She thinks that it is from Alex. When the two finally meet again in the library, Alex pretends to have given him the teddy bear. The two reconcile and start making plans for another date. Again, an unknown someone watches them from behind. Meanwhile, a revenge-filled Bradley goes after Jason, as he thinks him the main perpetrator of pranks. Simultaneously, we get to see another torture in the form of Nasser, the punk rock guy, who was responsible for pulling down the website related to Darren Mullet. Someone sets his headphones on full volume and locks his hand. This leads him to listen to the rock song at maximum volume until the very end. Bradley and his friend chase down Jason. They confront him about the text messages from Mullet's number, while Jason completely denies the allegations. It is then that they receive another message and realize that it's not Jason but someone else. When they leave, the rude PT teacher points out Jason's mistake and gives him detention instead of the bullies. Back at the school, a wounded Nasser exits the building with a constant shout that Mullet is back. At first, students are scared, but they pass it off as a mishap. Everyone keeps on receiving the text and fails to identify who the perpetrator is. Later on, Justine finds a message written on the bathroom wall. This makes her upset, as it makes no sense to her. The next day, someone puts up a prank for Natasha, while the rest of the gang remains unaware. Justin directly confronts Jason about the bathroom wall message and asks him if he was behind the act. Jason refuses again and mentions that she has no idea what it is like to be bullied. He explains that everyone bullied Darren at the school, to the point that they sent him messages and emails at home. The bullies, including Bradley, also set up a website after him to continue the bullying. When Alex inquires about the conversation between her and Jason, she hands him the note from Darren. All of a sudden, Bradley arrives and steals the note. He starts to make fun of it, and soon everyone catches up. Eventually, the bullying gang takes over the letter and burns it in front of Justine. The head girl believes that it is a bad idea and the group disagrees. The bullying group of girls takes out their frustration on Helena. They believe that she is the one behind the messages. Even though Helena denies the allegations, they bully her and call her friendless. Another haunting incident takes place when Sophie, a member of the bully gang, goes out swimming. She is unsure if someone is watching her and decides to check out. Soon enough, a ghost of Darren Mullet shocks her. He throws her into the swimming pool and then makes her drown, thereby leading to a haunting elimination. At night, Justine watches a movie with Alex. They both get close, and one thing leads to another. Meanwhile, Darren Mullet's ghost brings flowers for Justine but finds her with Alex. This leaves him teary-eyed as he leaves with another message for Justine. The next day, Justine confronts Alex about the rearranged fridge magnets. She believes that someone else was present that day with them, so much so that she blames Bradley for being the intruder. This allegation leads to a fight between Alex and Bradley. Later on, the school teacher finds Sophie's floating body in the swimming pool. This leaves the rest of the students scared. Right after this, one of the students playing football, Marcus, catches a glimpse of Darren's ghost from the window, but the rude PT teacher refuses his claim as another attempt to scare everybody. Marcus then leaves for a shower alone. This is when he sees the ghost of Darren Mullet again. It leaves him scared, and he decides to fight the ghost back. At first, the ghost of Mullet leaves Marcus injured in his eyes, but Marcus can pin him down using his bat. Just when Marcus believes everything is normal, the ghost of Darren Mullet gets up again. Marcus makes a run for it and reaches the school gate premises. This is where the ghost of Darren Mullet closes up on him and eliminates him by hanging him through the gate fence. The next day, everyone from the bully gang gathers to discuss the aftermath of the event. This is when Justine tells everyone that they shouldn't have bullied Darren. She also gets to know that Alex was also involved in the bullying. This is when Tasha and Justine get into a heated argument, which leads to a tussle between them. At last, Tasha overpowers Justine and throws her off the swimming pool. Meanwhile, Bradley decides to dig up Darren Mullet's grave and sort out the matter by himself. Justine decides to look at the website that was made by the Bullies. She watches Alex record all the infamous actions that led Darren to the dead end. In the website video, they watch how Darren was teased and set up for a confession to Justine. This is when Justine realizes how she ignored Darren mistakenly and the extent to which Alex was involved in the bullying. A heartbroken Justine informs Alex to leave her house. The scene shifts back to the graveyard, where Bradley and Tasha try to dig up Darren's grave. The bully leader Bradley sobs up after thinking about Marcus and Sophie. They try to figure out the reasoning behind the attacks, but fail to comprehend it. When the duo gets close, the ghost of Darren Mullet appears in front of them. He attacks Bradley first and leaves him fatally wounded. Right after, Tasha tries to make a run for it, but lands directly into Darren Mullet's grave. This is when the ghost of Mullet appears again and uses a shovel to eliminate the bully. The next morning at school, everyone was left in shock. It is clear from the pattern of attacks that only Justine remains the last victim. Before the class, Jason informs Justine that it was he who told the bully group about Darren's crush on her, which saved him from the bullying, but made Darren Mullet their prime target. This is when the ghost of Darren Mullet appears again and eliminates Jason. The rampage goes on as Callie goes into the art room and is taken as the next victim. The ghost of Darren Mullet shows a video of Callie slapping Darren as a fun game. Just as the footage plays, Darren Mullet seeks his revenge. Meanwhile, Alex meets up with Justine to take down Darren Mullet's ghost. He believes that the only way to stop him is to eliminate him. They reach the art room and find the latest victim, Callie. Alex decides enough is enough and tries to fight him back. At first, Darren Mullet's ghost uses a screwdriver to pin Alex down and then starts attacking Justine. This is when Justine throws off Darren's air pump and Alex steps on it. This gives them a small moment of victory, but it will not be long before things go completely south. The ghost of Darren Mullet is able to secure his air pump again and then goes on to eliminate Alex. This leaves Justine in a scenario where the screwdriver remains in her hand as she shouts over the ghost of Darren Mullet. Right after this, the principal and his team arrive in the room and blame Justine for the act. The scene shifts back to the start, where Justine is taken out of the premises and locked in a car. She sees the ghost of Darren Mullet for the last time and shouts in vain. The credits start rolling after that. As part of the post-credit scene, we get to see the ghost of Darren Mullen again, but this time seeking his revenge against the rude PT teacher. The film ends here. I hope you liked this movie recap. Please comment down on what you liked about this movie and what scene you liked, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.